Too close. I could even smell the fragrance of her hair. Then he went too far, staring at her body, saying that he had held her when she was a child. She didn't expect that she has grown up so fast. How time flies. She even asked about his phone balance of 500,000. A girl comes home so late every day. It's easy to make people think she's doing something bad. Then he leaned close to Xiaoran's ear and said with a smile, "If you need money, as long as you listen to me, I will give you." Xiaoran was very disappointed. Unexpectedly, the second uncle, who seemed to be the best to her, turned out to be such a hypocrite. For such a disgusting person. He didn't waste any words. He turned around and gave him a kick to the groin, and then left gracefully. But he had to find a place to live again. Xiaoran was pulling her luggage on the road. She saw a happy and warm family of 3. Her expression couldn't help but be a little lonely. But then she adjusted her state with a firm gaze to cheer herself up. I must work hard to earn money today. To achieve this goal, I have to take on multiple jobs. She went to be an intern model at 9 a.m. And at 1 p.m., she works as a waitress. At 6 p.m., she rides a motorcycle to deliver takeout. Looking at Ancharon's leaving back, the apprentice next to him didn't understand why such a lovely girl would choose to deliver food. The master replied with a smile, "Although I don't know why he works so hard, but I'm sure he loves motorcycles very much." So for him, delivering food might be his usual way to relieve stress. At this time, the screen changed. In the Atlantean pedestrian street, Tanka looked at the dazzling array of snacks in front of him and didn't know what to choose. And just then, the delivery girl and Xiaoran happened to pass by on a motorcycle. At this time, the black butterfly compass in his waist vibrated wildly. Tang Kai opened it in confusion to check, but the pointer on it kept spinning. Then, countless red threads. Then it passed through the bustling crowd and finally attached to Ancharan. At this moment, Tang Kai remembered what his master said. The UFO compass can find people, things, and demons, and can also predict good or bad luck. If red lines appear, it's a disaster, and those who encounter it will surely die. And there is no way to avoid it. Tanka closed the compass and looked in the direction where the red thread was floating. It's hard to find him with so many people here, and everyone has their own destiny. Even if he has a new helper, it's useless. Just then, a ringtone came from his pocket. He picked up his phone and saw it was an order assigned by the system, and there was a rare level I order inside. The system prompts you to have the privilege of grabbing orders, whether to grab the order. Looking at the message on his phone, Tanka happily showed his big white teeth. It seems that today is a good day. The scene changes. On the construction site at this time, the digging of the jar has spread widely. Many workers came to watch. But strangely, the people who first discovered the jar were gone. Someone found something around the jar. But when they walked closer, all of which were messy clothes and shoes, and there was a lot of black liquid on the ground. Workers gradually gathered around, discussing about the missing people and clothes. Just then, the giant jar suddenly bubbled and made a gurgling sound. Everyone was puzzled, as if something was about to float up. As they thought, a head slowly emerged from the pool, and then with a thud, a fire rushed up. a corpse. When the workers saw clearly, they were scared to sweat. Sitting on the edge of the pool, it was a mummy with several real spirit nails stuck in it. The Genling nail is a spirit-repelling tool in ancient villages and can also seal evil spirits. Those who plant this nail cannot do evil again. Otherwise, they will be punished. The workers had never seen such a strange thing. However, and fled in all directions, screaming that there was a ghost. But it was too late now. At this time, the mummy opened its mouth. The essence of a worker flowed out of his eyes and mouth. Then another one, and then more and more. All gathered in the mummy's mouth. Even the workers who were not watching from a distance were not spared. All of them slowly gathered together and gradually formed a huge sphere composed of countless bodies. And right below the sphere was the mummy squatting by the pool. As the essence was flowing out crazily, the workers were like deflated balloons, quickly shriveled, and then turned into a pool of black liquid, only the clothes and helmets falling in the air. The mummy seemed to have absorbed the essence and jumped down. Then golden light burst out of his eyes, and then roared to the sky. The body, surrounded by essence from bottom to top, began to grow flesh and blood. There was a cracking sound behind him, and a bone tail grew out. With the formation of the tail, the whole body burst out with an imposing momentum. Legend has it that there is a monster, evolved from a mummified corpse that has accumulated. It has an immortal body and 4 eyes that can see the soul state of others. Its body has the effect of longevity and enhancing spirituality. This monster is called Yuang Sao. But at this time, he looked at his own arm. He was confused. Who am I and why have I become like this? Then a drop of water fell into his palm and also awakened memories deep in his mind. It was a rainy day. 2 villagers stared at him coldly and then dragged to the dark table. Then several people swarmed up and controlled his body and nailed into his body with coffin nails. A piercing pain came. He wanted to call for help, but the people around were cheering happily, while the white-haired boy in the distance laughed even harder. The blurry memory is not complete, but he roared angrily at the name Enbu. As he exerted his muscles, the coffin nails in his back went deeper. Then the coffin nails burst out of pressure. Yuang Sao couldn't bear the pain and fell to the ground. However, the trouble now is not only the officers and soldiers, and people coming from a distance. Yuang Sao randomly uses Simu. This is his unique ability, which can observe distant targets, the color of the soul and the spirit. As his field of vision expanded, he saw Tanka, who was coming. But he didn't know him. But his body instinct told him to run away quickly. Although his power is limited by the officers and soldiers, now Ren Shao has become extremely weak. But he won't sit still. Ren Shao has a hatred in his heart. He wants to find that person and give him back all the pain he has experienced. Even if it takes 1,000 years or even 10,000 years, he would never give up. While he was crossing the road, a dazzling light rushed towards him. And then they collided. And Xiao Ran was thrown out. Ren Zhao, who had just been upgraded, was tortured by the officers and was hit by a motorcycle on the way to escape. He thought he was being attacked by someone, but the woman who attacked him was seriously injured. But now he couldn't think too much. Yuan Xiao sensed that the pursuer had come near, and in his current state, he was definitely no match for that person. Now there's only one way. After making up his mind, he slowly walked towards Anjaran. Ordinary people can't see ghosts. They only see the illusion caused by the rain, a phantom presented by rain. They thought they were hallucinating. And Xiaoran, who was seriously injured, couldn't hold on. She closed her eyes. Yuan Xiao has come to him at this time. The ghost behind him swayed like kelp towards him, and then entered his body. With the output of the ghost increasingly, and Jiran is now completely wrapped. The ghost is like a leech, also penetrated through the wound, began to repair. Then it followed the blood vessels to the heart, and the cells also fused with it and produced a mutation. After the fusion was completed, and Jiaran opened her eyes, only to see the pupil like a beast, which looked very strange. And with his awakening, Yuan Xiao also disappeared. Guanding lost his target, fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Tanka finally appeared at the construction site. But when he saw the scene around him, he realized that he was too late. Now the entire construction site is lifeless. He didn't expect so many people to die in such a short time. It seems that he must find him immediately. Just as he was thinking about the next step, the compass on his waist started to vibrate wildly again. And Jiran, who had just woken up, had left the scene and walked stiffly towards the city. A lightning flashed across his face, and he already had the characteristics of a werewolf. And Xiaoran just had a car accident, and now she's being fused. At this time, he was walking on the way back to the city. A cat passing by unintentionally looked at him suspiciously as if it had intelligence. Then in his pupil, the girl in front of him slowly turned into a burning body. After walking past without a care, the cat looked at the girl's back and showed a hideous expression. The once-in-a-century person, Zhao, I actually met her. But it seems that she is very weak now. Thinking of this, the cat suddenly became greedy, turned around and pounced on the girl. Taking this opportunity to eat Lengxi can greatly increase it. However, Ren Zhao didn't take it seriously. Just as he was about to be hit, he suddenly turned his head and looked at him coldly. Then he pointed his finger. A dark golden light emerged. The street lamp in the distance was swept by the wave, was suddenly broken in two. The cat demon closest to him was also cut in half. He didn't expect the opponent to be so strong. Although he was weak, he was killed with just one finger. He couldn't help regretting secretly. If only he had continued to act cute and adorable, he could still eat. But it was too late now. Yuan Zhao slightly raised the corner of his mouth. He merged with this body, and also got rid of those ferocious officers and soldiers. Now he is no longer bound. His power has all been restored. At this time, he decided to find someone to test his current strength in many places. Then he squatted down and used his feet to gain momentum and instantly took off and flew into the distance. Soon, he discovered the city ahead. Then a golden light flashed across the sky. Yuan Xiao landed on the roof. seeing the tall buildings in front of him and people coming and going. He was stunned. He didn't understand why the people in the city would dress so scantily. But there must be descendants of those villagers here. I will destroy their descendants. Thinking of revenge, the person at the moment opened his mouth wide. A green light flashed in his mouth. The crowd below immediately grabbed their necks and felt difficult to breathe.